We ready to roll, Scott?
Yes.
Yes, we are.
Let's do it.
Fingers on the dial, static hums and buzzes, voices cut the silence, truth ain't taking pauses. We the people Wednesday, speak loud, speak clear. Screech owls calling, Red's got your ear.
We the People Wednesday will begin in just a few short minutes, folks. If you want to be a part of the conversation, you still have time to jump over to the VIP Backstage Lounge at rippandrabbithole.com. If you are listening on demand, go ahead and fast forward to about the 3-minute mark and you will jump into tonight's live show. Stay tuned, folks. Show starts soon.
Late night howling, headlights chasing dreams. The rip on rabbit hole ain't as crazy as it seems. Ain't no polished lines, just hearts and fire. We the people Wednesday, speak loud, speak clear. Screech owls calling, Red's got your ear.
Rippin' Rabbit Hole is a community-driven radio. At times the community comments may reveal prejudices and other beliefs that we or our sponsors do not condone. Views or opinions expressed by the community, callers, or guests are those of the individual speaking and do not represent the views or opinions of this site. Rippin' Common Sense content is intended for mature audiences only. Enjoy.
Good evening, America, and welcome to We the People Wednesday. It is Wednesday, March 4th, 2026. I am Screech,
And I'm Red.
and tonight, just like every Wednesday night, we gather under the powerful promise of 3 simple words. We the People. The very first words of the Constitution. Not we the politicians, not we the powerful, not we the elite, but we the people, in order to form a more perfect union. And that union includes you. So whether you've dialed in across town or you're listening across the globe, welcome to Rippin' Common Sense Radio, where your voice is heard around the world. If you've tuned into We the People Wednesday, congratulations. You may now officially declare yourself one of the We the People people. If you're watching on Rumble or on YouTube, please give a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button so that you never miss a moment when Liberty goes live. And if you're ready to jump into the conversation, head on over to rippandrabbithole.com. Click the 24/7 tab in the taskbar. Scroll down to the VIP Backstage Lounge. Hit the big red Enter Now button. Allow the permissives and join the fun. That's rippandrabbithole.com. RIPPINRABBITHOLE.com. The VIP Backstage Lounge is open 24/7. It's free and it's always will be. It's where ideas meet courage, strangers become friends, and conversations that matter actually happen. Just 2 simple rules, folks. Be respectful at all times, raise your hand when you'd like to speak, and most of all, have fun, because this isn't our show. This is a show for we the people. And Red, we're on YouTube tonight.
I know this is our first time, but welcome back to welcome back to YouTube for the Rippin' Rabbit Hole.
And to all you folks on YouTube listening, Red and I joined the Rippin' Rabbit Hole and the Animals of Radio after some censorship happened.
Right.
And that censorship happened because of our guest tonight.
Isn't that a coinky dink?
It is. It is a coincidence that he was
I honestly didn't know that
one
until
of the
a couple
last
days ago.
One of the last ones on before the Rippin' Rabbit Hole left the platform for a while. But we are back tonight, and we're excited to be back on YouTube. And it's an honor for you and I to be kicking off our resurgence back on YouTube.
It's actually pretty exciting, yeah.
It is.
For us,
And-
at least.
And Red, we have a really important guest, and we're gonna reveal some stuff that we've been up to since fall, and we're gonna reveal it to people who haven't had an opportunity to hear it, and also to our very special guest.
Yep.
So without further ado, we're gonna jump right into this because I'm excited, and we have just 60 minutes, folks. Normally tonight we spend the hour entertaining comments and questions from our audience. Tonight we're going to push that back until the very end. If we have a little bit of time, we might be able to slide in a couple questions. But
you can always put the questions in the chat.
that's right, Red. They can put them in the chat, and we'll try and keep an eye. We've got an extra platform to watch tonight, so we're going to try and watch the chat
Yes.
as closely as we can. But I think let's just jump into it, Red. I'm going to bring on our very special guest. I think at this point. So without further ado, please give a warm We the People welcome to our very special guest, Mr. Timothy Ramthun. Can you hear me, Tim?
I can hear you quite well. Thank you so very much, guys. Boy, a couple of things I got to get off my chest.
Do you want to get them off your chest right now before we kick it off?
I want to thank you very much for the honor of being tonight on your show as a guest. I want to tell you and Red, you guys are quite the dynamic duo. You really knocked the cover off the ball. You work very well together. You're seamless, and it shows in your presentation. I also want to congratulate Rippin' Rabbit Hole and AJ for getting back on to YouTube. Now, you did say that I was the last person to be on before it went off, and I'm the first person back on. I guess that makes me a bookend, but I do appreciate that.
We're gonna test their censorship potentially, right?
No, we won't be doing that tonight. But I am looking forward to your data and the information you're going to share, because I think it's going to be quite interesting. So thanks again for having me.
Absolutely, and Tim, we'll get into some comments from you as we go through the show.
And I want to thank you, Tim, for all your kind words too.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you for the kind words. But Tim, I know you've probably caught wind of some things that Red and I have been up to, and tonight is the big reveal. I want to share with you and the world what we've been up to and where we're at. And I can tell you, Tim, that it all started back in September, and I don't know if you heard this. This is how, folks, the Draft Ramthun campaign was something that Red and I did, and
Michelle.
Yeah, we brought some other people on board.
Well, it was just us three, to be honest.
And as we go through the night, we're going to explain why we did what we did. But I think it's very fitting that we start tonight with the song that kicked off the Draft Ramthun campaign.
Yes.
And I hope you enjoy this, Tim, if you hadn't heard it. And don't be afraid to dance, folks.
Because I know I always do.
Here in Wisconsin, we got a chance to rise. A leader so true, you can see it in his eyes. Tim Ramthun's the name, standing tall and proud. Against the old machines, we're gathering a crowd. No more shadows lurking, it's time to shine the light. With a team of volunteers, we'll bring the truth to fight. He's proven conservative, fighting day and night. Ready to take back our future, it's all time to ignite. Praise God, from whom all blessings flow. When I say Ram, you say Thun, let's go. Dance to the beat of democracy alive. Join the Draft Ramthun Campaign, come on and thrive. The establishment's shaking, they don't want him to win. Tim's here to hold them accountable, we're ready to begin. A no-nonsense leader, ready to end the waste. Restoring our great state, we'll run with no haste. Safe and secure elections, we're taking a stand. It'll take every county, together we'll expand. Grassroots movement uprising, heart beating in each town. Let's lift Wisconsin high, it's time to wear the crown. Praise God, from whom all blessings flow. When I say Ram, you say Thun, let's
Folks, we're going to take the volume down on this a little bit for the last half of the song. You kind of get the idea, and it's available on my Facebook page if you want to hear it, or on the Draft Ramthun Facebook page. But really, folks, what happened was This poll came out in about August of this year, and this was very alarming to me. We had a poll that showed two gentlemen who ran for statewide elections previously, Eric Hovde and Tim Michaels. It also included Josh Schoeman, who had jumped in the race in about May of last year. He's
April,
like the
May.
Washington County executive. And it included Tom Tiffany, a congressman from Wisconsin. And you can see the numbers up there.
And this
it
poll
showed
came out before
Tom Tiffany had
yep.
jumped in the
Correct.
race. But I found this really alarming because none of these candidates thrilled me at all.
I agree.
I felt that it was more of the same,
Yep.
more of what we've had for years.
People being shoved down our throat that makes me feel like we the people don't have a choice again.
Absolutely, Red, and that's when we said, you know what, we need to go find our own candidate because we're tired of whether it's the party or whomever, people dictating to us who our candidates are going to be. And I'm going to give you a couple examples very quickly of why we were so alarmed by the people in this poll. I want to show you. So Tim Michaels ran for governor in 2022, and all kinds of money was, he promised $50 million to his campaign. He was going to self-fund, and he became the real push. And everybody wanted us to vote for Tim Michaels.
Yep.
Red, feel free to jump in here while I'm finding my thing.
You are the technical misfit.
And the people on YouTube don't know that I'm the technical misfit.
Yet.
So, folks, this was our candidate. I want to show you what $50 million can get you. And this is the prime example why money should not impact politics
Anybody.
the way it does. It
No.
shouldn't. It shouldn't dictate to us who our candidates are going to be.
And that's what I want to do as governor.
Just a quick yes or no. Yes for DACA students?
I'm sorry?
Yes or no for DACA students as well, the incentives,
What kind of students?
DACA.
the dream.
DACA
Dreamers.
students? You know, I want to look at the details on everything before I agree to anything. And that's what I...
Folks-
When we heard that live at the debate that night, I was like, are you kidding me? And you want us to vote for this guy?
That's what money can get you sometimes.
Yep.
Someone who was ill-equipped to be governor of the state. He was a weak candidate, and it showed because now we're stuck with Tony Evers.
Exactly.
But now we're nearing the midterms, and we have
Mm-hmm.
to start looking at candidates. I got to get the videos out of the way quick, and Red, this isn't going to be a popular one for some people. Some people are going to be upset at us for showing this one.
But you know what? I'm sick and tired of people telling us who to vote for, like you said, and why we feel the way that we feel about certain people. Because the stuff that we learn about them isn't always good. So once again, we're going to have a potential corrupt candidate. And I'm going to come right out and say it. I don't care.
All right, so Red, so when Tom Tiffany announced his candidacy, there were allegations of some smurfing money to the tune of $371,000. Now that's small compared to some candidates,
Correct.
but it's still $371,000 that are in question.
Exactly.
And when that was brought to his attention
It was
through
crickets.
Peter Berniger, it was crickets.
And you
and it-
offered to...
There was a perfect opportunity for him to say, if I've been smurfed, I want to dig into it and get to
and
the bottom of
correct
it
Yep.
and be a part of fixing it.
And you've asked him several times on social media.
I made that offer. Let's go knock on the doors.
Yep.
If you haven't been smurfed, I'll back off that talk. And I won't talk about the allegations of having been smurfed. But it's been crickets. Crickets from the campaign, crickets from the candidate.
Exactly.
And then, Red, we had an opportunity.
Well, actually, the opportunity came way before the smurfing came out.
Yes, this was in April.
April.
And we were at an event,
Mhm.
and I had the opportunity to speak to Congressman Tiffany. And I had a legitimate question for him because at the time, this was just a few short months removed from Elon Musk and Doge identifying a whole lot of waste, including all the money that had been going to USAID.
Yes.
So
All
I took the
wasteful
opportunity
spending.
because Tom Tiffany had been serving as a Wisconsin congressman since 2020. And because I know Congress appropriates all the money that goes out,
Yes,
I
they
thought
do.
this is an opportunity to understand how this can happen when it took DOJ just 5 or 6 short weeks to identify that waste. So I asked him, and I have this, I'm only going to play 16 seconds of this video.
Yes, not the whole one.
But basically, that's what I asked him. How could Congress continue to appropriate funds to the likes of USAID
Mm-hmm.
without knowing where that money was ending up
Correct.
when it took DOJ just 6 weeks to identify that as fraudulent waste? And this was the response I got, folks.
But there's no doubt Congress failed in its duty of oversight for the last 3 decades. Really, since Gingrich in the mid-90s, it's been an utter failure of Congress to do its job. And it took DOJ to do it.
And he said, and it took DOJ to do it. I
Now,
will
why
also,
does it take DOJ to do it? Why were they, as in the Republicans, because we know the Democrats ain't going to do it, why didn't the Republicans stand their ground and start asking questions? Where is this money going? No, instead, it took DOJ.
and my question to him was, and this is not recorded, but I did ask him, how can this happen? Actually, it is recorded. I just don't have it queued up. I asked him how this could happen. Why did DOJ identify it, but Congress failed to? Because he admitted he was a part of a failed body
Mm-hmm.
and failed oversight, and all this tax dollars were wasted and fraudulently sent to groups. And his response to me was, now that the American people know, and this is not verbatim, now that the American people know, we have to do something about it. I find
So, in
this,
other words, had DOJ not came in and found what they found, this would have been continuing on. But instead, now that the American people know, we'll have to fix it. No, it shouldn't take now that the American people know.
no, and for me, this was red flags, because is this the man I want behind the governor's desk in Wisconsin?
Absolutely not. I was so angry when I heard that.
So this opportunity to speak to Congressman Tiffany back in April,
Mhm.
followed by the poll that came out that said he was leading the polls should he jump in the race. And I also have an email that was sent out from a polling company that basically says,
And that was dated
this was dated August 14th, so right before he jumped in. They had Tom Tiffany at 40%, if Josh Schoeman and Josh Schoeman at 13%,
And they had
and
did they
Bill
have-
Berrien at
yep,
10%.
he was still in it
And
at the time.
this email that was sent to whom it may concern also says that a hypothetical Trump endorsement would push Tiffany to about a 60% jump. Oh, I got to put something up here.
I was going to say the screen's a little dark there.
But anyway, folks, that's what led to us saying we have to find our own candidate. We have to find a candidate that we, the people, can support. And we had supported Tim Ramthun in 2022.
Correct.
We know the reasons that Tim was a good candidate
And you're getting all excited here.
in 2022. Things are flying, folks.
Watch out.
You know, when I think of Tim Ramthun, I think about election integrity, accountability by state agencies, lowering Wisconsin's tax burdens, medical freedom, and pro-life without exception.
Exactly.
Something that the Republican Party has kind of stood on for years. I mean, that's been a part of their platform.
Corey said, screen is black.
Okay, Corey, I'm going to make you happy. So we started the Draft Ramthun campaign and read much of this was done online, but it wasn't just online, Red.
Nope.
You and I got in the car and we traveled. We were to places like Fenimore, which is
4 hours one way.
4 hours to the southwestern part of the
Yes.
state to meet with a group of patriots,
Yes.
to share our vision of putting together a draft. And folks, what this meant was that we wanted to establish
A
people
team.
in every county. Wisconsin has 72 counties. We wanted boots on the ground in 72 counties, ready to go to work for Tim, so that when we went to Tim,
And back up just a tiny bit. Why did we want to establish this team? Remember?
well, the money.
Because we know that Tim Ramthun will not take dark money. Actually, he got a donation. I don't remember what year, and he can confirm that. He actually gave the money back because he did not want to be beholden to anybody
Right. So
except for we, the people that he's representing.
so we know the secret to defeating the establishment and the big money is to have boots on the ground. So our goal was someone to lead each of the 72 counties and build teams within those counties to take on the work. And
We wanted that team ready.
Red, we fell short of our 72.
But
We did.
but
I want to show you a map. There's a map up on the screen right now. On the left side of that screen are counties that are highlighted are the 25 counties with the highest vote totals from the 2022 primary election for governor. Those are the top 25 counties in vote total. On the right side of this screen, the shaded counties are the counties that we've already established boots on the ground, people ready to go to work for Tim Ramthun should we be successful in drafting him as a candidate. And as you can see, we have covered about 18 of those top 25 counties in the state with people ready, boots on the ground, ready to do the work.
yes, we did.
And
That are and honestly, we could have more, but the people want to make sure that he's going to jump in before they commit. And they're people that we've talked to several times before, but I can't speak for anybody.
And-
I just know what they have said.
And-
He's got my vote.
and
He's got my support.
the map that's up there now, Red, the dark ones, it's supposed to be green, and for some reason it doesn't show up green on the screen. But those darkened counties are counties where people have said, if he gets in, I'm in.
Yep.
Which means that we will then have covered
You're gonna count them now. You should have had it counted before.
21 out of the top 25 getting counties in the state,
Yes.
along with some others. And folks, I'm telling you that this has been exciting for us. It's been exciting to travel around the state and talk to people. And Tim, I know much of this information is completely new to you. Do you have any thoughts on what we said to this point?
I'm impressed. I'm impressed. Wow. I need a Kleenex. I guess the one question I have is, I think Red, you commented, how many counties do you think would throw in outside the 21
I
that are waiting for me to declare before they actually throw in? Is there like another dozen or so, or what do you think?
I believe it's at least 10 to 12, somewhere in there.
So Tim, I think we're very close to nearly half the counties where we have people ready to take the lead,
And
if you were to jump in the race.
In a couple of those counties, they're groups, not just a single person that's jumped in. There's groups that have jumped in.
And many of these counties that are shaded red are represented by groups. It's not a single person.
Correct.
It's a group of patriots or established patriot groups who've taken on this role, and they're ready to get to work.
Yep. Yes, they are.
Now, Red, this hasn't come without some people who've gotten a little angry with us.
Yep.
People who've said, why are you doing this?
Because it's a primary.
We've gotten a lot of negative feedback from some people. We've got a lot of negative feedback about this effort.
But people need to realize that we have a primary for a reason. It's for us to choose who we want to represent us in the general, not what they want us to vote for. And that's what makes me angry. I want to, in my opinion, or not opinion, in my experience, what I've been learning from these people, when there's one person in this race, there is so many people that do not even want to bother going to vote. And what does that look like? You know, and I've been hearing from a lot of these GOP party um, counties saying, oh, you guys failed. You need to get out to vote. You need to get out to vote. Vote, vote, vote. Well, how were we supposed to do that when you don't even give us a choice? So we went and found our choice.
We did. We didn't have to look very hard because we knew him, and you know, Tim embodies things like leadership, courage, conviction, integrity, character. Those are all really strong traits to have when you walk into the governor's office. And you know, I won't lie to you folks. I've had plenty of one-on-one conversations with Tim over the years, and I believe he's the right man for the job. I truly do. And
Well, he was the right man for the job back in 2022. So
he was. And oh, lost my train of thought right as I'm trying to.
see, it's not only on the computer that it's technical difficulties, but in his mind. What are you trying to show?
Well, Red, you just keep talking there for a minute because I'm trying to find something.
I can, if you don't mind, I could jump in and talk.
Absolutely, jump in.
Definitely.
Okay, well, you know, I'm spinning, but you guys alluded some of your concerns, some of your pushback, some of your negative comments. I found your post more than intriguing. I thought it was very well presented. I mean, other than my picture on the front, I thought the text, because I'm really critical about myself, but I thought the text expression was very crisp and very clear and very disciplined. And yet, to look beyond that and not realize what the value proposition was, what it was, which is to talk about the merit of this program that you guys put together. I was taken aback by some of the comments as well. I mean, I don't know if he's on. I can't quite tell if he's on. Maybe he's listening on Rumble or on YouTube. But Dixon Wolf and I have a positive history, very positive history. I think he's a class guy, and I admire his work, and I admire his passion, and I admire his engagement. He's very involved, not just the turning point element, but aside from that, he's a good man, just a good man. But I got to tell you, Scott, the response you put out to him when he questioned why, you know, you were doing this was extraordinary, absolutely over the top, crystal clear. And I'd like to read it to you, back to you, because I had to sit down. This is really good. You said primaries exist to put power in the hands of everyday voters, not just the party insiders. They give grassroots voices a real opportunity to help decide who will carry the party's banner into the general election. They also serve as a necessary check on concentrated power, preventing nominations from being controlled solely by party bosses or political elites. Primaries shift influence away from backroom decisions and return it to the people where it belongs. When the true purpose of a primary is challenged or undermined, this is a really good point. This is a really good point. When the true purpose of a primary is challenged or undermined, we drift further away from what really matters, which is candidate quality, candidate messaging, and candidate character. Instead of elevating the strongest ideas and the most principled leaders, we risk settling into the lesser of two evils mindset. And when voters feel their voice doesn't truly matter, participation declines. Think about that for a minute, because it's true.
It does.
This expression is spot on, Scott. It's just brilliant. And to continue on, if electorate participation continues to drop within the GOP, and it is, I think it has, there's always the concern. That's why there's such a crazy push for get out the vote, right? The majorities will eventually be lost, and the responsibility will rest with those who presume to tell voters who their nominee will be before the voters themselves have spoken. And that was some of the messaging in that post. The comments were, why are you doing this? You shouldn't be doing it. We got the person. Let me finish this line because I got to get this expression done here. The goal of the Draft Ramthun campaign is simple: foster open discussion about the issues, examine real solutions, and most importantly, ensure there is genuine choice for we the people. Now that answer basic speaks to, I think, the first comment that my friend Dixon put out, where he said, "Why are you doing this? He's a good guy, but he won't win." I'd love to have a conversation about that statement. What does that mean? He won't win. Why? Why won't anybody win? Why does a person they think will win will win? I mean, I really want to understand why people can say that, because until the dust settles on the campaign period and the door knocking you do and the lit dropping you do and everything that goes into from the day you announce to the day the selection happens, you don't know until the dust settles, right? But if they're saying, already telling you can't win, what's the logic for that? Tell me the reasons, right? And then he says, why can't you get behind Tiffany and push him to continue fighting for election integrity? Well, there's two things about that. Leaders don't need to be pushed, number one. And number two, if there was a truly genuine concern for election integrity, nobody would need to be pushed.
You know,
So for me,
I'm going to stop you for a second. When you said about the why can't you get behind him about elections to help fix elections? Might I remind people, Mr. Tiffany, I don't remember what year, I believe it was 2021, in Wausau stated to a question about the 2020 election, how to fix it, and about pulling back the delegates. You need to get over it and move on. It's over and done with. What does that tell me when I hear that? You can continue, Tim.
I was essentially done. I just wanted to, I guess, when I looked at the comments, I looked at all of them. More of them are positive, more of them are good, more of them are accurate, more of them are correct. But this speculation about getting behind people that are chosen before a primary even happens. I mean, the party itself voted not to endorse at the 2022 convention. Why? Because they didn't want to affect the voice of the people for the primary. They felt it was wrong to endorse at the party level. But yet we have people saying that in this post, you were just basically announcing we were going to explain your Draft Ramthun campaign, and they're going off like the world's coming to an end and our horses going to be challenged, and we can't have that. And I'd like to know why they feel that way, because I don't know. There's no merit in having one person run. If they think they're going to stack the deck and get all the votes, I think they're going to turn more people off than they could get.
And, you know, I have a feeling I know why, but it's just my own opinion. I think it's because they're scared of you jumping in the race. I really do.
You're not the first person to say that, by the way. I've heard that pretty regularly.
Tim, I have the same questions when I see comments like that, because they just throw the question out there, or the comment that he can't win, or everything comes down to money. I've heard several people question, well, does Tim...
one final item, if I may, at this point.
Absolutely.
It's around the same guy. And again, I like Dixon a lot. He's super good. And I hope he continues doing what he's doing as far as working for the people kind of thing in the party. But he alludes to, after the fact, somewhere in the messaging, I'm not going to dig for it, but here it is right here. He was talking to our good friend Corey McCoy Bormans, and he said about me, he said, he's a nice guy, but Tom is obviously going to be the nominee, which I don't know how you can get the obvious. But then he says, unless Michaels jumps back in. Okay,
really?
Now that's a whole new conversation. So, we want this guy, but maybe it won't be that guy if someone else. Really? Well, why is it okay for the other guy to jump in, but not for me? I mean, so there's so much irony in this expression. It's crazy. And then he goes, why aren't we all coming together? Well, my answer to that line is, and I thought this when I read it, if you quit meddling in elections, maybe we could come together. If you would fix what's wrong with them, maybe we will come together. But you don't stop meddling and you don't fix it. So here we are.
Amen.
Anyway.
Amen.
So Tim, I'm going to take a quick break. We just have to tie a couple things up for break. And then, in terms of, I had some more information about a poll that was recently released. And I want to talk about that
after the break.
The folks that are listening want to hear so much more from Tim Ramthun. So we'll be back in just a minute, Tim. All right, friends, a quick programming note from the rabbit hole himself. From the rabbit hole, from AJ.
From AJ the Rippin' Rabbit.
This Friday night at 8 p.m. Central, AJ the Rippin' Rabbit is going live for a powerful hometown deep dive as we gear up for the 2026 Freedom Flame celebration, March 20th, live from Ripon, Wisconsin. AJ will be talking Ceresco, early Ripon, and the Underground Railroad, the stories beneath the surface, the history they didn't teach, and why it matters now. And this one's a big moment because it's AJ's first return to YouTube in almost 4 years. So if you've missed the rabbit on those airwaves, this is the night. Join us for Rippin' Rabbit Hole Live Friday at 8 p.m. Central. And one more thing, if you haven't yet, go to thefreedomflame.com and add your spark to this year's flame. Let your name be part of the story. We'll see you Friday night. Don't miss it. And folks, this will be our, 5th Freedom Flame, I believe now?
Yes.
And it's going to be really exciting for us because AJ's been doing this remotely, virtually from other parts of the country.
Yes.
All
and
the
it'll
times
be his
that
first year.
all the
with
times
us
that we've been on the ground.
In Ripon.
And
Yep. I'm excited.
And I can't wait to stand on that mound,
Yes.
watching the sunrise come up through the mound, rather, and because it was emotional when we were there 2 years ago, and
Seeing that cross
it's going to
come
be
up, it's amazing.
equally emotional, I think, and it's especially for AJ who's not seen it live.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good time. So, folks,
He did get to see it virtually last year, but not live.
right, but it's different when you're standing on
way
that
different
hill.
live. Yes.
So March 20th, AJ's going to talk all about it on Friday night. And again, I'll reiterate what he said. Go to thefreedomflame.com and add your spark.
And when you do that, there is 2 different schedules, one for in-person and one for virtual. So if you're wondering, what's the schedule like in person, click on that one and you'll see from the very morning before sunrise on the mound, and then the schedule of events throughout the day until the actual lighting of the Freedom Flame and beyond.
And it's going to be a great time. If you're in Ripon or anywhere in Wisconsin, come and join us. If you're not able to join us, please join us virtually. And AJ will talk all about it. AJ is an expert historian on Ripon, and it's sure to be a fascinating show on Friday night. We will also tell, very quickly, I have to put it out there, Red, Harry Waite, his 2-day jury trial is scheduled for March 23rd and 24th at the Racine County Courthouse.
However, we're going to be at his pre-trial, his final pre-trial in Walworth County on March 11th at 11 a.m.
So we'll see. But the call the big call to action is for the jury trial. We need to fill the courthouse with Harry's Army.
Harry's Army's going to be there.
All right. So, Red, let's just jump back into that. I think I covered everything that AJ wanted us to talk about for our and I didn't have any music cued, Red, for the break because I've been so busy trying to learn how to get everything over to YouTube. So, folks, I talked about a poll that came out recently, and I think this is very telling, and this is all the more reason, I think, at this point, the Draft Ramthun campaign is maybe more important than it was back in the mid part of September when we first started it.
Mm-hmm.
Because this poll speaks volumes, if you ask me, Red.
I think it, yeah. I was shocked. I'll be honest. I was shocked when I seen this poll.
So, folks, this is
a Marquette
This is a
poll?
Marquette poll, and if you're in Wisconsin, you know that, and I take polling with a grain of salt.
Mm-hmm.
But this one is very telling to me because if you look at this poll that was taken was released a week ago, so this was after Josh Schoeman dropped out of the race. Essentially, this was a one-horse race at this point.
Yeah, because we didn't even know about Andy Mansky.
And this is after the Trump endorsement that came out.
Correct.
After President Trump endorsed Congressman Tiffany. And this is the result of the Marquette poll. Almost 65% of the people, folks, are still undecided on the Republican side. What does that tell you?
You know what it tells me? Nobody wants to vote for Tom Tiffany. That's what it tells me.
You know what it tells me?
65%.
Tells me that 65% of the people are waiting for Tim Ramthun to be drafted into the
Exactly.
2026 election.
Exactly. Into the 2026
midterms race. Yes, absolutely. That's what it tells me. And
that's just my opinion. I mean, they're waiting for a candidate because they really, you know, maybe they don't want to vote for Tom Tiffany because, number one, they don't know him. So despite what they say about name recognition, there's a lot of people on our side of the state that doesn't know who he is. Well, number two, because, I don't know, the very first video that you played about Doge, maybe they realize, oh, well, you know what? He has been part of Congress for how long? And why hasn't he tried to do anything?
Essentially, he's been a career politician. He served in the Wisconsin State Assembly, in the Wisconsin State Senate, moved on to his congressional seat, and that's where he's been. And a part of a failed Congress, in his own words.
Yes. Well, yeah, actually, it was his own words.
So,
hey guys, can you scroll that display? Can you show the name recognition for the GOP, the two GOPers, and also I thought there was a.
No,
I thought it showed the undecideds at 65 or 64.
You know what? I don't think I did. I'm basing that 60, and I know
it's over there. No, it doesn't. It just has the two.
Well, no, you're not wrong. It's 63, 65%, which is 2-1. They're undecided. Okay, but also this name ID thing, that's recognition. I think it would be interesting to see what the recognition number is, because if Tom is high but his polling numbers are low, there's a story in that too. You know, people know him and they're not going to vote for him. I mean, that's pretty telling. That's what that tells me. If the name ID is higher than 35.
Exactly.
Right, and you know what, Tim, I don't have that one loaded. I'll load that another time, and I'll share that with my audience. Though, I agree with you, and I've heard that argument, Tim. We've heard it. Tim can't win a statewide race, and I would come back to why, and I've heard people talk about name recognition, and I think to myself, well, Tim's done something that Congressman Tiffany hasn't. Tim has appeared on a statewide ballot,
and Tiffany has not. But I also want to point out, every single time that I hear people say that, and I've heard this from other people as well, they are so sick and tired of hearing name recognition and he can't win. Those two things are the things that the patriots, the we the people are sick and tired of hearing.
They need to qualify it. They need to qualify it, because I don't understand it. I disagree. I go anywhere in the state. I bump into people all over, from Fenimore up to, I call it Canada, which is up where Scott and Stephanie are, and Michelle, and even toward Brown County with Green Bay. I bump into people all over, and they say, I know you. And I'm like, really? Wow, that's pretty cool. I mean, it blows me away all the time. It just does.
Well, and if they, instead of using those terms, and they were like, well, we really liked him, but, well, you know what? Stop with the but and start pushing. You're a patriot, or a GOP county, you're a GOP member. I don't care if you vote for the Republicans, then you start pushing both Republicans and like the county parties, not just one. And that I've found with a lot of the counties, that's what they've been doing, no matter who. And this was before Showman dropped out, I will say. And then I remember from the 2022 election, same thing happened. Start pushing all the candidates.
Well,
that's what makes a primary fair.
See, my thought, Red, and I'd like to know Tim's feedback on this, having been a candidate. If these people would spend as much energy talking about the qualities that I talked about, the leadership, courage, conviction, integrity, character, if they talked about those qualities that Tim possesses,
mm-hmm.
and spent as much energy talking about that,
mm-hmm.
as they do about he can't win a statewide wide race.
Well, and not to mention, if you go back to 2022 election, we were watching some of the videos of Tim Ramthun.
The
One,
debates.
yep, the debate and at convention. And what you said in those two videos that we watched, and getting to know you more and more over the last couple years, everything that you stood for then, you stand for now, and what has been fixed from then till now. Can you answer that, Tim?
My priorities haven't changed. I could probably give a very similar, if not almost identical speech I did in 2022 regarding the priority issues of the state, from taxation, high spending, education reform, not just from a budgetary perspective, but we got to get that curriculum checked as well. The opioid and drug abuse, the farmers need help. Trafficking still a big issue. Medical freedom still a concern. We have to address Statute 32310 so we don't have a rerun from 2021 when we shut down the state. Excuse me, 2020 when we shut down the state for 8 months. Nothing's changed in my priority list, and the reason why is because nothing's been done to address any of them in 4 years, and that's crap too.
Exactly.
Right, I agree, and that was one of my takeaways from the mainly your speech at the convention in 22, Tim, is that all the things that you talked about in that 10 or 15 minute speech that you presented the convention, none of it's been addressed.
The comment I'd like to make regarding AGR 120, which was the resolution to reclaim our electors, was to reclaim our electors. It wasn't to overturn an election. It was to reclaim our electors because I wanted to hold people in process accountable for defrauding the process. And if we would have been able to be successful, if Robin Voss would have put that resolution on the floor, my guess is it would have passed. And Wisconsin would have been able to pull back its 10 electors. At the time, Biden had 305, it would have taken him to 295. No change. He's still over 270. He's still in the seat, right? But if two other states, Arizona and or Pennsylvania and or Georgia and or Michigan, would have done the same thing we did, and they were talking to me at the time to replicate the same type of approach, that would have pulled his electoral college votes down below 270. And guess what? That would have created a constitutional crisis. And you know what? I was okay with that because that's what we needed to have happen in order to fix the core of the issues. But if you just skirt around the edges and throw band-aids at a gash, you're not going to stop it. And that's what's happened over the years because we've had people obstruct it, deny it, deflect it, and delay it. And here we are. Now we're moving into 2026 and people are worried about, not being able to get one guy over the line if he's challenged. I mean, why don't we focus on the bigger picture and the greater good, which is to solve the selections process, quit manipulating before the day, stop manipulating on the day, let the voice of the people truly be heard, and maybe we can come together. And that's my final comment on that.
Boy, what a beautiful thought. Let the people decide. What a unique idea.
And like I said, people are all up in arms because, oh, you're going to divide the party. You're going to divide. How are we dividing a party when we have a primary? You can only vote for one or the other.
We're already divided. The solution to bring us together is to do what I just said, fix the problems with the selections process and stop meddling and let the voice naturally happen. This is a disingenuous process going on right now where, they're picking horses before they're even in the race. It's crazy. And, are they afraid if I jump in? I don't know. Will I be a wrench in the gear? Probably. Could I move the needle? Absolutely. Could I win? Maybe. If the Lord wills it, it'll happen. But I'll tell you, I find the reluctance and the resistance from within my own party inexcusable. I don't get it. I'm not that way. Anybody should be able to run for any seat. We've got multiple people running for Secretary of State. We've got, I think, 2 running for treasurer instead of just 1.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Attorney General is just 1. Eric Toney.
And then you have the Lieutenant Governor, I believe, is what?
But
4?
there's 3 or 4, right? And that's great. When the president ran, when Donald J. Trump as a citizen ran in 2016, wasn't there 17 running it in the primary for the GOP at the time? 17?
I believe you're right.
I didn't see anything wrong with that. I thought it's a great opportunity for selection. And I do remember our Never Trumper state was pushing Ted Cruz at the time. They
Correct.
wanted Ted Cruz really bad. And I was always for the president, even though he told me he would endorse me if I ever needed him, but he hasn't. So he gave me his word, and he backed out on that. Rather, I didn't want to say the other word, but he didn't deliver on what he promised to me, and I'm bothered by that a little bit. But anyway, back to my point, we had a choice. We had variety. We had them working with each other and against each other, because iron on iron, sharpens iron, right? And when you don't have a challenge in a race and you're coasting along until maybe after August, and you're going to fine tune your message and hope you can get across the line in November, I think we're going to send a soft candidate to the
I agree,
polls.
Tim. And Tim, as you've run as in the assembly and your gubernatorial race,
Mhm.
isn't that dialogue between candidates healthy for we the people, when we can ask candidates how they feel about medical freedom or
Yep.
elections? I mean, isn't
Well,
that how we get things solved?
well, absolutely. And when the candidates go on record, on audio and or video, and they go on record and give their position on a situation, they have to hold true to that, and the voters then have to hold them accountable if they change their mind or back out on it. So, but yes, I love competition. I love a challenge. It keeps me on my toes. I find it a little concerning, however, it happened in 2022, and it probably would happen again if I threw in for 2026, that the other candidates start using my talking points. I don't like being copied, but that's one of the best ways to be flattered, when people start, taking your stuff. But
Yeah, I
Sure.
was gonna say they did that last time. And I'm reading some of these comments, and they're saying, but how do you get over a Trump endorsement? Well, may I remind the people of Wisconsin that Trump's record in Wisconsin in the endorsement area
1 for
is
6.
1 for 6. So
Yep.
that's not a very good track record. And I will also say, Corey points out, and I remember this about a week ago or so, Donald Trump recently withdrew his endorsement for Colorado Representative Jeff Hurd due to Hurd's opposition to Trump's tariff policies. And he endorsed some. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but basically, I'm saying Trump doesn't know if Tim Ranthum's going to jump in the race or not. And
There's a
who's to say he can pull the endorsement again?
there's a committee that actually does this election. To be bluntly honest with you, unless I spoke with him directly to ask him directly
Mhm.
if he really said what he said about the Wisconsin endorsement, I don't know if he actually did it. I really don't, because there's a group of people that do it, and they put out the comments on his behalf. It's all staffed out.
Mhm.
So I'm not saying he didn't, and he probably has to know because he knows everything. But did he know enough? And what's the reasons for it? Deals being made with the RNC and the RPW, by promises being made. I mean, I don't know what goes behind it. To me, the endorsement should be about the character of the individual, the conviction and the courage, the passion, and the fearlessness that they'll have to do the right thing for the greater good and to maintain our constitutional republic. That should be the core reason and only reason why you would endorse somebody. And then you watch what they do and watch what they say, and if they fit the bill and have the package, to me, it's an easy thing to do. But if you're just doing it off of someone else's recommendation because there's deals being made behind the scenes, well, that's why we have wrong people in wrong role at wrong times at all levels, by the way. And then we wonder why we have problems in government. But hey, there's about 6 minutes left. I thought if we could sneak a couple of questions in, if anybody has anything.
Yeah, let's
can.
before we will, let me just put up one very quick graphic, Tim, because I figure I have until June 1st to complete this draft Ramthun process, because I know signatures are due.
But you know what? I know somebody on Rumble did also say, who would Trump endorse if Tiffany would ever, for whatever reason, would no longer be in the race?
So very quickly, Tim, I put the last post I put out on Facebook, with my meager 800 friends or so, had it's this number was taken earlier this afternoon. It's probably approaching 12,000 views on that post. That's got to be very humbling for you, I would think, to know, and that many people are interested in Tim Ramthun. And I'm going to put up, as we go, take a couple questions.
If you would like to take
More
or
than,
ask a question, make sure you raise your hand.
more than humbling, by the way. I'm honored beyond measure. I'm more than humbled. Thank you.
And these are just some of the comments, and I'm going to leave them up for a while so people can read them. I'm not going to read them. If anybody's got a question for Tim, we've got time for just a couple very quick questions before we close out the show.
Well, we have AJ the Rippin' Rabbit.
AJ the Rippin' Rabbit has his hand up. Go ahead, AJ.
Boy, it'd be nice to unmute, right? I need to learn how to do that. Thank you, Scott and Red, for putting on this draft concept. This has been an entertaining and enlightening program, to say the least. And Mr. Ramthun, thank you for agreeing to be a part of this round table discussion. And it's just ironic that it happens to be on the night that we return back to YouTube. Of course, We the People Wednesday, and Scott and Red Owl are premiering their show for the first time on YouTube. Shortly, just under about 3.5 years ago, we were censored and removed right around. If you go back and look at the 3-year-old content, it's all about you, Tim. In 2022, you can
Knock
see
it off. Knock it off.
you can see the election results. You can see the primary, the end of July. Karen Mueller is on the program. We're doing accountability, and bam, we're talking about election integrity, and out the door we got the boot, and we said, we're going someplace else. We never left. For those of you on YouTube who don't know that, we never left, or we never went away. We kept doing what we're doing for the last 3 years, and it's an honor to be back on YouTube. So I guess, I would like to have you on, perhaps on a Friday night very soon, and I'd like to talk to you about that time on those airwaves. Yeah, once again, maybe we'll call back to that material and really talk about what happened in that period of time, because this program's remarkable, with the concept of them wanting to draft you as the people's governor yet once again. But I'd like to hear from you directly, whether you decide to move forward in this race or not. I'd like to I've got questions.
Absolutely. And I'd like to talk a little bit about 2024 as well, because additional nefarious acts were revealed by my involvement in a race in 2024 that speaks to the core of the problem, which is manipulation.
Wonderful. Consider it a date. I'll shoot you an email and we'll arrange something very soon. Thanks again, guys. I'll turn it over to anybody else who has any other questions.
Thank you, AJ. And boy, I'm looking forward to that.
I was going to say, that's a great idea.
AJ dissecting things with Tim Ramthun.
I don't see any other hands up.
Does anybody else have a question for Tim?
Well, let me grease the wheel here a little bit. Maybe I can warm somebody up to ask them specific. But I'll tell you, if I were to do this thing and get back in and be successful, one of the first things I would do, and there's many firsts here, but this state spends way too much money, $114.7 billion. Give me a break. I would look to lower the budget by at least 15% in my first 2-year time of my 4-year term. And the second 2-year term, or the latter part of a 4-year term, I would look to lower it another 10%. I would like to see this state in a spending range of around 90 billion, if not upper 80s, every 2-year cycle. We're spending way too much money. Also want to move aggressively on eliminating taxes, or lowering them minimally, and ultimately eliminating state income tax. I'd like to get rid of that as well. As far as education goes, every year as a school board member, I'm a seated member, we always have issue with, we don't have enough money. Every stinking year. And the biennium is 2 years, right? So whatever they pass, like they did this year, next year, we're going to have the same problem with taxes, by the way, because of the lack of property tax relief, whether they come up with a deal or not. But I want to address how public schools are funded. We need to cut the layers of secondary and tertiary levels out. We need to look at the school levy tax and all of this stuff that they use to excuse higher levels of taxes and payments due for schools. So we have to look at that as well. I still have concerns, as I alluded to earlier, about medical freedom issues. Nothing was done to address the statute to prevent a rerun from what happened to our state in 2020 when Evers shut down the state. That's got to get fixed. I know our farmers are in trouble. We don't do enough help for our military. We don't do enough for our police and fire support. Our EMTs need services as well, enhanced so they can be more productive and safe doing their jobs. I've got huge issues with drug and opioid abuse in our state. We're a traffic thoroughfare for drugs and also for trafficking. And I know there was a really good presentation about Barron County and the trucking industry and how that's involved in all of that process too. That really needs to be a priority for the state legislature so we can take action at the statute level and get laws in place that the governor can sign. So could a governor jack up that body, that the legislative body, both chambers, whether they're split in majorities or it's one party that owns it? Yes, the governor can. The governor, just like the president, can set the agenda for what the Congress is doing in Washington. The governor in Wisconsin can set the agenda for the legislature. They have to do the work and execute it. And then, of course, it would just be signed off by the governor. So everything has to be initiated in the legislature. But can we work together to make that happen? Absolutely. And even if it's a divided party, I believe, publicly, I'll say it, I believe the Senate is at risk of being lost to the Dems in majority. It might be a 17-16 Senate next session. I could be wrong, but if I'm not, then you have a problem within the legislative body where you have division. Right now we have it between the legislative body and the governor's office. It's going to move inside the legislative body. That could make things very interesting and very difficult as well for the next governor, because you've got, split party stuff going on. So I don't think divided government works well. But I also don't think a government that's all one party works well if it's abusively doing things and ramming stuff through just because they are. You have to focus on what's the right thing to do for your constituents. You have to focus on the greater good, and let the Lord take care of the rest. And last but not least, I'll say, praise God from whom all blessings flow. I should have started with that. I'll end it.
Amen.
Amen. But before we go, Catherine did have her hand up. We'll take one quick question, and then I have a quick one from the backstage that was written, Tim. Go ahead, Catherine.
Well, I just had some thoughts about debates and stuff. So recently, I believe I heard Lazar, who's running for the Supreme Court, to speak at an event where she said that she's been trying to debate her competitor, or at least have some kind of a platform where the two of them spoke together about things. And that Chris Taylor, has been avoiding her, won't show up at anything she tries to schedule. So I think as much as the debate platform can be a pain in the butt, I do think it gives the voters a different perspective than all the publicity. So the more that could happen, the better, where people can see the difference between the candidates in person in a video or something. So I just wonder, how you could try to arrange that if it doesn't appear to be happening at all, if they're avoiding it.
Was that a question to me?
I think
I
was
guess.
that just a statement? Was this a statement? What can you clarify the question? I mean, I'm aware of the GOP holding a debate between the two in Milwaukee.
I guess that's my question is do you let we the people arrange them or try to arrange them, or do we rely on the party? Do we rely on the media? What is the best course of action to get that type of an event happening?
In 2022, when I was invited to a debate, and I went to 4 because I was invited to 4, only 4, I was told I won all four, by the way. So some of the other comments I saw in that post were not correct either. But I went. So my answer is, it didn't matter who was having them and where they were being held. What mattered is I was asked. So for me personally, if somebody wants to have a debate, if I'm a candidate, I'm there, and I don't care who asks for it. And I'm not going to wait for the media to do it, or anything else. If anybody wants to have a debate, and then of course having everybody show, not have an empty chair, that happens
Mm.
too sometimes, where they refuse to come because maybe they're afraid or whatever. But um, I'll be there. So if you're asking me if it has to be through the party or media, I say no. Anybody can have a debate.
All
It
right,
should
thanks.
be should be an organization, a group. I think there's got to be some official entity that holds it. It just can't be like one person, but should be an entity, like an
Okay.
organization.
Tim, if I could just, somebody backstage had a question, uh,
Yeah.
and
Is
this
it?
regards to is regarding the money that everybody talks about when
Yeah.
they say Tim doesn't have the money. First
Yep.
of all, for you
Well,
or any other candidate who isn't taking a lot of dark money, can they be successful in a statewide campaign?
well, let me back up. So people want to know how much money you have to run for a public office, and not to be smart about it, but my first thought is why? Why is that important? Why does it take money? Bear with me for a moment here because I want to walk through this.
Absolutely.
We've been programmed as society for decades now to wait to be told what to do. And the mechanism for influence, the mechanism for buying seats is the physical dollar. And the more money you get, the more influence is pushed on you to deliver so that you can maintain the status quo. If I were to allow the doors of dark money to come into my campaign, I would be lowering myself to the same level that the puppet pushers seek when they look for somebody to come in to maintain the status quo, quid pro quo, pay to play status quo. So if people want to know how much money does it take to run for office, I don't know. It varies. Depends on what you want to do, how much collateral materials you want to buy, how much travel do you do, how many people do you have in your campaign, how much money do you have to pay them in order for them to work for you. Some people have told me they'll work for me for free because by winning the election, that's their payment. And I can't tell you how grateful I am to that, because that's a genuine position on it. So money for me, I don't know. Why don't people, to your I'm spinning without here, to your Draft Ramthun campaign, instead of just talking and saying they're going to do stuff, which is really important. You've got data on counties where you've got people listed. I presume you've got them named too. Probably didn't want to show names, but
No.
you probably can name.
Yeah.
Where's the dollars? I haven't seen a dollar come my way. If a dollar comes my way, or like say more than 10, it forces me to register my campaign for the 2026 race. And guess what? That's a public record. Everybody's going to know. I haven't done that yet because I haven't had to, and I haven't wanted to because they didn't want to make it public. But nobody's sending any money to and sent me to run. So people want to know, where's the money going to come from? From the people who support the candidate and the message they bring to the table, the promise that they're going to get that I will deliver on when I'm in the chair, just like I did in 2022. But I didn't have $50 million. And by the way, if I had $50 million, would I run for a job that pays 170 a year?
Exactly.
I don't know. That's a good.
What does that tell you?
Just think about that for a minute. If someone, I hate to pick on Tim because he and I are where I'm okay with him, but you know why he jumped in the race, I don't know, and will he jump in again? I don't know. But if you got that kind of money, what is it about this job? I look at these roles, ladies and gentlemen, as servant roles. Governor, state senator, president of the United States, they're servant roles to the people. And if you do it right, if you listen and work to execute solution and resolution to problem and focus on priority issues and the greater good, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work because you got to research this, you got to do it. And go, there's just a lot to it. And a lot of people don't do that kind of work. They just sit back and they wear the title and they got their parking spot down on one of the streets around the Capitol, Maine, perhaps, and they have an office in the Capitol building, and they think they're big shots. What are you doing? What are you physically doing to move issues to closure that are controversial as well as commonsensical. I don't see a whole lot of activity coming out of Madison, and the whole situation needs a swift kick in the hinder to get moving. So back to money. Final comment. I self-funded my assembly race in 2014, and I didn't win. I spent $500 in 2018, and I won. To me, it's about candidate character, candidate quality, and candidate message. And if you can do those three things and resonate with the people and get the votes, that's the endorsement I want, and that's the vote is what I want. So
Well,
if that makes
the
sense.
one thing that I know, Tim, is that I've heard the passion in your belly when you spoke tonight, and I along with so many other people listening appreciate that, and the messaging that you bring to the table. I don't know where you're sitting on whether or not you would consider. I hope that this Draft Ramthun campaign can have some kind of impact on a decision. I did notice in chat you can probably expect some $11 checks coming your way because you said it.
Yep.
And
Someone said they're going to send it tomorrow.
So just so you know, you might have some money coming your way that might require you to register your campaign. But that being said, I don't know if this will impact you. I do know, Tim, that we've got people in nearly 30 counties ready to hit the ground running.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got a lot of people out there who love you as a person, but respect you as a candidate
and need you
and
as a governor.
And all the top qualities you bring. So I hope that we can somehow inspire you to want to take that plunge. And I guess I'm going to give you the final say tonight as we head out. Anything you want to say, the floor is yours, sir.
Did he lose?
We may have lost Mr. Ramthun.
No, I'm sorry. I clicked it twice and it went back to red. I want to thank you very much for this evening. I want to thank you very much for the work you did that you presented to the people tonight. It is very impressive work, and it's intriguing beyond measure and humbling as well. I'm deeply moved. There's concerns that I have about this process, and maybe in meeting with AJ, we'll talk a little bit more about some of the nefarious acts that go on. There's things that people do. They're shameless. They're just absolutely shameless, and they're evil. And they'll do anything. They'll lie, and they know it, but they want to cloud the mind of the voter. And if they create the doubt, they win, or they say they get ahead. And if you have to answer it, you have to waste time and resources to answer that stuff. So you're going backwards in your campaign. You're not out talking about what you're going to do. You got to clear up some crap that someone said about you. So that bothers me. The mechanics of the elections are still broken. The smurfing money's still pouring in. No one's stopping nothing. Everything's the same as it was in 2024 and 2022. Those are concerning things for anybody who wants to run for office today. You did ask earlier, can a grassroots patriot candidate win? It depends on the people. But if they don't turn out to vote, no, then you can't, because the mechanics will prevent you. The machine algorithms, the voter lists are still corrupted. The algorithms, it's not a good situation. But I know one thing will happen if we don't try, and that's nothing. And nothing isn't acceptable either. So here we are. We're all kind of in this boat together at the same time. So thanks for your time tonight, and I appreciate all your work. You guys are blessings beyond measure.
Well, thank you for the kind words, but thank you for joining us on We the People Wednesday and our first episode back on YouTube. If you're in the YouTube audience and I didn't get to your comments, or on Rumble, I do apologize. We'll get better at this as we picked up another platform that we have to keep an eye on, and I promise to get better. I'm going to ask everybody, as the music goes out, put a 100 in the chat if you think Mr. Ramthun would make the best candidate for governor in 2026. Let's show him the people stand with him.
And I want to say one more comment in the backstage. Please be the people's governor again.
That was a comment in the backstage. So with that, folks, we are
Look at all the hundreds.
look at the hundreds are coming in like crazy.
Oh no, there's in 1,000.
All right.
Not just 100.
So, folks, that's the end of the show for tonight, Red. We're back tomorrow night, and we're back on YouTube again tomorrow night. I was thinking, we're gonna return to the roots of Tin Hat Thursday. So there's gonna be some crazy kind of an episode. If you're on YouTube, come back tomorrow. I'm not sure what we're gonna talk about. I know we got a letter recently about some food.
Oh,
Red,
yeah.
and we might have to dive into our
Yeah, that's kind of nasty, but that's a tin hat.
we might have to dive into our food sources again just for a little fun. So you might not want to eat a big meal right before the show. If you come back tomorrow night, and I hope you do.
You can show the burger that you still have from what? I don't even remember when.
A couple years ago. So we'll see. But come on back tomorrow night. Finally, we'll be back tomorrow night. AJ will be back with his first return to YouTube in almost 4 years with Ribbon Rabbit Hole Live. All shows start at 8 p.m.
And Corey's comment there, so maybe we will have to make that tomorrow night.
All right. Invite your dad back to the show tomorrow night, Corey.
We'll talk about that food.
We'll have an image for him.
We'll
What
show
else?
live.
What else? YouTube people don't know it. Every Sunday morning on at the Rippin' Rabbit Hole, we have when 2 or more are gathered.
In the backstage only.
In the backstage only. It's not broadcast. If you don't, whoa, the music got really loud, Red.
You did that one.
Well, it comes in that way.
Not really.
Anyway, we're 2 or
Excuse
more
me.
gathered. We're diving into Proverbs yet, and it's just a great way to start your Sunday, and it's very relaxed, a nice little Bible study, and some worship and breaking bread with some friends. So join us 10:30 a.m. every Sunday morning at Rippin' Rabbit Hole. That's it, Red. Bro, right? Thank you, Tim Ramthun, for joining us.
And thank you for having us back on YouTube.
And to everybody in the backstage, I think Tim's normally good for hanging around for a few minutes. I don't think he stepped out yet. For you shy people who don't want to talk. Have a good night, folks.
Flags wave in the static air.
Good night, Red.
Freedom's crackling
Good night, Screech.
everywhere. Every voice matters, every voice dares.